Hello everyone, welcome to another beginner's guide on Yu-Gi-Oh! Link Evolution. I am going to finish up the rest of this tutorial. We're going to go through all of these, finish this out, so that tomorrow we can start working on the actual game. Alright guys, let's just start getting into this. It's already going to take a little while. Here we go. Hey, this is N4 M8. Anyway, let's begin the lesson, shall we? The previous chapter explained how to use spell and trap cards. Spell and trap cards are divided into a variety of types depending on the effect. Depending on the effect of the spell or trap card, this is an icon written here. First, equip spell cards. These cards allow you to give an extra effect to one monster. They remain on the field after they are activated. After they are activated, an icon is displayed on the card it is equipped to. Also, when the equipped monster is destroyed, the equipped spell card is also destroyed. Next, continuous spell cards. These cards remain on the field after they are activated, and their effect continues as long as they remain on the field. Depending on the card, the time it remains on the field may be designated. Continuous trap cards act the same as continuous spell cards. These cards stay on the field after being activated, and their effect continues as long as they remain on the field. Field spells cards. These cards are different from other spell cards in that they are placed in the field zone when they are activated or set. These cards affect every card on the entire field. Both players can control an active field spell card at any time. To replace a field spell card you currently control, you may send your field spell to the graveyard in order to play a new one. The old card is not considered to be destroyed. Now try to use each different spell card. Alright, we're given a bunch here that we can test out. Why don't we go through some of these? Once you're done using spell cards, and your turn. Alright, let's see. So first is going to be the Wetland spell card. All Aqua, Water, level 2 or lower monsters will gain 1,200 attack. We're going to activate the effect. Then we have what's called, if an elemental hero monster attacks a monster that is higher attack, the attacking monster will gain 1,000 attack during the damage calculation only. Let's set this, just to show you what it does. Now we have change all the face-up level 4 or higher monsters to defense position. We can activate it. Let's just do that for the fun of it. Now this is continuous, so no matter what, if I try to do this, that activates and puts it back. See? Alrighty. Axe of Despair. This card is always treated as an Archfiend card. The equipped monster gains 1,000 attack. When this card is sent from your field to the graveyard, you contribute summon one monster placed with this card on the top of your deck. Let's activate. Apply. And now we have Twin Swords of Flashing Light. Trice. Send one card from your hand to the graveyard. Equip this card to the monster. It loses 500 attack, but it can make a second attack during each battle phase. We'll set this, and now we just end our turn. Now, let's look at the other types of spell and trap cards. Quick play spell cards are special cards that do not have any specific timing. These cards can be activated anytime. You can activate them during your opponent's turn, but you must set the card face down first. Also, you cannot activate this card in the same turn you set it. Counter traps are normally activated in response to the activation of other cards, and may have abilities like negating the effects of those cards. These cards have the fastest spell speed. For a detailed explanation, see Chapter 12 about chains. Now, try using these cards. First, use a quick play spell card. Rush Recklessly is set onto the field. Now use it in response to your opponent's attack. Wait for him to attack. Okay, I'm gonna actually... No. Well, we can activate it now. I should have waited, but Select this one. Did you use it effectively? In this situation, this card gives you the advantage by destroying the opponent's monster if activated when your opponent announces an attack. Now, let's try using another. Magic Jammer is set on the field. Now use it in response to your opponent's spell card. Now we can activate ours. Magic Jammer. Then we have to sacrifice one card in place to negate that spell card. And that concludes my lesson on spell and trap cards. Did I pique your interest in them? Well then, till next time, dismissed. Alright, let's get on to battle phases. Hey, this is IN4M8. You're looking more like a duelist every day. Okay then, I'll help you bring out even more of the duelist in you. Let the lesson begin. This chapter will explain each phase in detail. First, the draw phase. This is the first phase. The turn player draws one card from the top of their deck. A player with no cards left in their deck or unable to draw loses the duel. Next is the standby phase. The standby phase is a special phase. If a card says to do certain things during the standby phase, it is done at this point. If there isn't a card like this, jump to the next phase without doing a thing. Some cards that are resolved during the standby phase are cards with a cost or effects that can be activated during this phase. One example of a card with a cost is Fairy Box. While this card is face up on your side of the field, you must pay 500 life points during your standby phase or destroy it. Next, main phase 1. The main phase is when the turn player can freely play cards. First, summoning or setting a monster. You can only summon or set a monster once per turn, including during your main phase 2. There is no limit to the number of times you can flip summon and special summon in a turn. These are explained in other chapters. Next, changing your monster's battle position. This includes flip summoning a monster or changing the position of a face-up monster to face-up attack or defense position. You can do this once for each monster on the field. Also, you cannot change the battle position of a monster that was summoned or set this turn. Activate a card or effect. You can activate as many different spell cards or trap cards or the effects of a spell, trap, or effect monster card as you want during this phase. Set spell or trap cards. You can set spell and trap cards during this phase for as many open spell and trap card zones you have available. One exception is field spell cards, which have to be used in the field zone. Next, the battle phase. This battle phase is when you can battle with your monster cards that are face up on the field. You do not have to conduct a battle phase, and the turn player can choose to skip this phase if they wish. The battle phase is split into 4 steps: the startup step, battle step, damage step, and end step. In this game, the computer will automatically resolve these steps for you. However, there may be cases where you cannot activate a trap card during a damage step, and special rules may apply. Next, main phase 2. The actions a player can perform in this phase are the same as in the main phase 1. If the player turn did not conduct a battle phase, this phase is skipped as well. There is another thing you must be careful of. Monsters that attack during the battle phase cannot have their positions changed in main phase 2, even if you didn't change it in main phase 1. Lastly, the end phase. If there are any cards on the field which say during the end phase in their text, resolve those effects in this phase. If you have more than 6 cards in your hand at the end of this phase, select and discard cards to the graveyard until you have 6 cards in your hand. This card, Brain Control, allows you to use an opponent's monster as if it was your own, but its effect only lasts until the end of the turn. During the end phase, card effects like this are resolved. This concludes my lesson on game flow and what happens during a turn. Hey, you look even more like a duelist. Well then, till next time, dismissed. Alrighty, let's move on to fusions and ritual summons. Well, seeing as I'm ready to go, let's start the lesson. This chapter will explain fusion monsters and ritual monsters, which are different from normal monsters. A fusion monster is a violet-colored monster card. Fusion monsters are special cards that go in your extra deck, not in your main deck. Fusion monsters are summoned by using the specific monster listed on the card, combined with the spell card Polymerization. As the description of polymerization says, you can send fusion material monsters that are listed by your fusion monster card from your hand or your side of the field to the graveyard, and special summon the fusion monster from your extra deck. Boy, that was a tongue twister. Sorry all. Try using polymerization from your hand to fuse summon a monster. Alrighty. Wah. Alright, let's do this. I was running out of breath there. Nice. Yeah, we'll put him in attack position. Okay, there goes my eardrums. You can select fusion material monsters from your side of the field, your hand, or both. There are other methods to fusion summon besides using polymerization. Using a card like Fusion Gate will allow you to fuse summon without using polymerization. Next, let's look at ritual monsters. Blue-colored monster cards are ritual monsters. Ritual monster cards are different from fusion monster cards in that they are placed in the main deck. However, in order to summon a ritual monster, you must use a specific ritual spell card along with the required tribute. Generally, in order to ritual summon, you need the ritual monster card and a specific ritual spell card in your hand. When you tribute monsters from your field or your hand whose total levels equal the level of the ritual monster you are attempting to ritual summon. For example, in order to summon a level 8 ritual monster, you'll need to tribute monsters from the field or your hand whose levels are or equal to or greater than 8. For example, one level 1 monster and one level 7 monster, or two level 2 monsters and one level 5 monster. Ritual spell cards have this effect icon written on them. We might get into a lot of ritual summon, guys. Try to ritual summon. Using the ritual spell card from your hand, ritual summon one time. We're gonna do the end of the world. Select the monsters. Ruin Queen and Demise of the King Armageddon, and Ruin Queen. Oops, attribute the summons. Oh, I see. So 8. We need a 1 right here. This'll do. Haha. See, I'm still getting slightly used to some of that part. Fusion summons and ritual summons are explained in this chapter and are 2 examples of a special summon. Special summons, unlike normal summons, can be performed as many times as you like during your turn. There are other special summons besides fusion summons and ritual summons, which are explained in Chapter 10, Effect Monsters. Unless otherwise specified, a special summoned monster is summoned onto the field in your choice of face-up attack position or face-up defense position. This concludes my lesson on fusion monsters and ritual monsters. We'll say summons, monsters, whatever. These are just as important as tribute summons, which I'll explain later, so pay attention. Well then, till next time, dismissed. Alrighty, I'm going to save this real quick, guys, because I might have to do these in increments. I'm not sure yet, so I'll be right with you. Alright guys, I'm back. Let's get going again. Turn off the alarm.
I turned off your 5:17 p.m. alarm.
Sorry all. Didn't mean for that. Alright, let's begin the next lesson. Normal monster, fusion monsters, and ritual monsters have been explained up till now. This chapter will explain another type of monster, effect monsters. Effect monster cards are orange colored. With the exception of a few cards, effect monsters do not have any special way of summoning them like fusion monsters and ritual monsters do. Effect monsters, like spell cards, have effects that can be activated. Effects are broken down into 5 major types. Although you do not necessarily need to memorize the names of these types, let's look at them. First, continuous effects. These effects are activated while the effect monster card is face up on the field. Command Knight is a good example of this kind of card. Okay, give it a try. Oh, okay, we have the summon. Okay. As long as Commander Knight is face up on the field, increase the attack of all your warrior type monsters by 400. Ah, okay, I see. Alrighty. Alright, this is the continuous effect. Next, ignition effects. You can use this type of effect just by declaring its activation. You can normally activate this type of effect during your main phase. There are some ignition effects that have a cost to activate, like discarding cards from your hand or tribute summoning monsters. Okay, give it a try. Alright, let's see. Oh, exiled force, sorry about that. There we go. And then we can select a card to destroy. There. Now that your opponent's strong monster is gone, you can attack directly. However, without attacking, activate tomb cards here. Here we go. And then select the monster to tribute. Aha. If your opponent has a strong monster on the field and you cannot attack, you can use this effect to deal direct damage to your opponent. Trigger effects. These effects are activated at specific times, such as when this monster is normal summoned successfully or during the standby phase. Marauding Captain has an effect that activates when it is summoned. Okay, give it a try. Activate, yes. 4 attacks. Right. Select monsters from your hand to special summon. Here, you just summon 2 monsters at once. Having more monsters can give you an advantage during duel. The monster you summon to the field by the effect of Marauding Captain is considered a special summon. Summoning a monster in any way except summoning it normal summon or set is a special summon. Some cards can be special summoned when specific conditions are met or through another card's effect. Just to say real quick guys, this is probably what I'll be doing a lot of too, is another one is special summonings. Alright, special summoning using the effect of Marauder Captain is just one example. Cyber Dragon is an example of a card that can be special summoned to its own effect. Using special summons, you can place multiple monsters on the field in one turn. This gives you an advantage during a duel. This one says if only your opponent controls a monster, you can special summon this card. So for example, even by special summoning a weak monster, you can immediately tribute it to summon a high level. Next, multiple triggers effects. There are special monster effects that you can activate even during your opponent's turn as long as specific requirements are met. First, summon the monster. And battle phase. This monster on your opponent's side of the field has higher attacks, so normally you wouldn't want to attack it. However, if you use Injection Fury Lily's effect, Select Injection Fury. Now attack the monster. It is before damage calculation. Activate the effect. Yes. And select. Loose 2000. Deal 400. Destroy that. You can do this to destroy your opponent's monster. Last, flip effects. These are effects that are automatically activated when a face-down card is flipped face-up. This card can happen when it's flip summoned, attacked while face-down, or flipped face-up by a card effect. Okay, let's give it a try. Alright, first take the flip effect monster from your hand and set it onto the field. Target one monster your opponent destroys. I need to set it and then flip it. Oops. Select Rhino and then flip summon. Apply these effects simultaneously. You can destroy one card on the field, send 3 to the top of the card. Destroy this card, sure. Oops, I meant to push back there, my bad. Push circle, there we go, and let's get right into the end phase. Aha. Select the card, destroyed. Bam. Not that I would normally do that, I would go for blue eyes, but just for the sake of it. Now do you understand flip effects? Flip effects are used best by first setting the flip effect monster on the field. That concludes my lesson on effect monsters. If you want to get mathematical about it, effect monsters equal spell and trap plus monster or something like that. Use them right and you can pull off some amazing things. Well then, till next time, dismissed. Alright guys, on to the next one. Holy crap, we've got a lot of them. Hello there, this is IN4M8. Well then, let's begin. During a duel, you can select and display a card list of both players' graveyard, banished zones, and extra deck. First, let's look at the graveyard list. You can close the list by pushing circle at any time. Okay. Cards in the graveyard are generally in order in which they are sent there. The first card on the right is the card first sent to the graveyard, and the last card on the left is the card that is last sent to the graveyard. Okay. If you push triangle button, you will be able to sort the difference. Use this. Okay. An icon is displayed here showing the status of the card. Cards with a blue border are your cards, and cards with a pink border are your opponent's cards. Here we go. Okay. Monsters that cannot be special summoned have this icon. There are several other icons which show the status of the cards in the card list. Let's take a look at special cards that you select in the graveyard. Monster Reborn is a card that lets you select a monster in either you or your opponent's graveyard and special summon it. When you use this card, a list of monsters from both graveyards will be displayed. Try it out now. Select Silent Doom. Activate the effect. We're going to choose Why Not You, and then set you to defense. Lovely. By using cards like this that will let you special summon from the graveyard, you can bring a powerful monster back onto the field. Of course, after doing this, you can still summon a monster from your hand, and you can use the special summon monster as a tribute to tribute summon a high level monster. Use these methods to broaden your dueling strategy. Next, let's look at the card that lets you select a card in your deck. The controls are basically the same, but you cannot see the cards in your deck, so be sure to remember the cards in your deck and the cards that you have been using in the entire duel. Now, assuming your deck has warrior type monsters in it, use reinforcement of the army. We'll just, I don't know, what do we want? We'll just pick this one, why not? By using your cards that let you select cards in your graveyard and deck, you can get cards that you can't seem to draw and reuse cards that were destroyed. This is just one strategy you should keep in mind when constructing a deck. Well then, till next time. Alright, about chains. Hello there, this is IN4M8. Well then, let's get on with the lesson. This time I'll teach you about chains. A chain is a system that allows players to activate and resolve multiple card effects smoothly. A chain also refers to the activation of a card in response to another card's activation. If a card's effect is activated, the opponent is always given a chance to respond with one of their own cards. If the opponent activates an effect in response, a chain is created. Afterwards, you are given a chance to make an additional play on the chain. Both players continue to add effects of the chain until they both wish to add nothing else. Then you resolve the outcome in reverse order, starting with the last card that was activated. Also, if your opponent does not make a chain, you may chain to your own card's activation. If you do not want to chain a card to your activated card, press circle button right after the first card. Now, do you understand about chains? During the game, the computer automatically resolves chains. If you have a card you can activate, an activate confirmation message will be displayed, so there is no need to worry. Depending on the order effects are added to the chain, the outcome is different, so be sure to fully understand chains through dueling. On top of understanding chains, there is one more thing that is important, which is spell speed. Spell speed refers to the speed of a card's effect. If you want to respond to a card's effect in a chain, you cannot respond with a card that has a slower spell speed. There are spell speeds from 1 to 3. Spell speed 1 is the slowest and spell speed 3 is the fastest. Spell speed 1 consists of normal spells, equipped spells, field spells, and effect monster effects, other than quick effects. These cards cannot be activated in the chain in any other way. Speed spell 2 consists of quick play spells, normal traps, continuous traps, and quick effects or effect monsters. These cards can be used against a card with a spell of 1 or 2. Spell 3 consists of only counter traps. These cards can be chained against a card of any speed. Try to chain and create a chain. Yes. Oops. I don't know, I'm just tired. Sorry, I'll select the card dock to, oops. What the hell am I doing today? Alright, there we go. I'm too tired. Look at this card. Cards like this have timing restrictions based on the number of chain links there are. Cards like this have effects that change depending on how many chain links there are. The first card activated is chain link 1. The first card chained to it is chain link 2. The next card is chain link 3, etc. It sure would be nice to duel sometime, right? Duels. Here we go.
I'm not sure I understand.
I wasn't talking to you. Hi, this is IN4M8. Well then, let's begin the lesson. This chapter will explain match duels. A match duel is a set of 3 duels where the first player to win 2 duels wins the match. A single duel is a one-time duel that determines the winner. If a match duel results in 1 win and 2 draws, the player that has the 1 win is declared the winner. If the result in 1 win, 1 draw, and 1 loss, the match duel results in a draw. A match duel has several rules. In between duels in a match duel, players can switch cards in between their main deck and side deck. A side deck is a 15-card deck made specifically for match duels. After the first duel, use your side deck to adjust your deck accordingly to your opponent's strategy. You can switch as many cards as you like, but you must have the same amount of cards in your deck. In other words, you must have the same amount of cards you had when you started the first duel. In the first duel, a game of rock, paper, scissors decides who will go first and who will go second. In the second or third duels, the loser of the previous duel gets to choose. If the previous duel ended in a draw, a game of rock, paper, scissors is played again to decide which player gets to choose. You can see how much a match duel is progressing by looking here on the screen. Although it was just an explanation, that concludes my lesson on match duels. Well then, until next time, dismissed. Alright, now we're moving along. Other kinds of special cards. Number 1. I know this lesson is tough. Are you keeping up? Practice and remembering is the key. Well then, let's get on with the lesson. Until this point, the general effects of the game have been explained. There are eventually even more kinds of effects a card can have. This chapter will introduce and explain a few major examples of some of these effects. First, let's look at a trap monster. A trap monster like this card is a special summon onto the monster card zone. When activated, it is treated both like a trap and a monster card. Next, we will look into tokens. A token is a monster created by a card's effect. Tokens are treated as normal monsters. When a card effect that creates a token is activated, a token is special summoned onto the field. Okay, give it a try. Little ones that you see down here, those are tokens. Alright, tokens are special summoned to the field like this. Tokens are gray colored. Also, tokens cannot be in the face down position. A token cannot be targeted of a card's effect that changes a monster to face down defense position. The sheep tokens used as special summon cannot be attributed for summon a tribute summon. There are some tokens that cannot be attributed for a tribute summon, so be sure to check the text of each token. There are cards that use a coin or die. If it uses a coin, you choose heads or tails, then flip the coin. The card effect changes depending on the side it lands on. Let's take a look at some of them. There are several cards on the field to use a coin or die. Give some a try. Select the end phase when you are finished. Activate. You can select or destroy a card. Okay. Once per turn, you can select a target card that controls, toss 3 times. Nope. Now we've got, you can discard 1 card and then target. Mink. Roll the dice. Boom. Let's see. Ritual summon. Aww. Alright, activate. Nice. And face. Well then, till next time, dismissed. Alright, on to this one. Hello there, this is IN4MA. This chapter will continue explaining special cards. First, let's look into Union Monsters. A Union Monster is a special kind of monster that can equip itself to a specific monster. Once per turn, you can equip and unequip a Union Monster. When treated as an equipped card, it is placed onto the spell and trap card zone instead of the monster card zone. If the equipped monster is destroyed by battle, the Union Monster is destroyed instead. Next, Spirit Monsters. A Spirit Monster is a monster that returns to its owner's hand at the end of the turn. It was summoned or flip summoned. Because it returns to the owner's hands, the risk of it being destroyed is lower. Most Spirit Monsters have powerful effects. Spirit Monsters also cannot be special summoned. Now you see how Union Monsters and Spirit Monsters are special from other types of effect monsters. Now, let's look at the spell counters. Certain cards use special kind of counters called spell counters. You can activate effects on these cards by removing spell counters from it. You cannot put a spell counter on the card that does not use spell counters. Lastly, let's look at level monsters. by meeting certain conditions with the word level included in their name can level up a monster with a higher level. Generally, the higher the level, the more powerful the monster and its effect. When using level monsters, make sure to understand how each card levels up and construct a deck that will allow you to do so easily. Well then, till next time, dismissed. Alright guys, we're getting there. Just a few more. Alright, well, 4 more, technically. Hello there, this is IN4M8. Well then, let's begin our lesson. This time, I'll explain synchro monsters and how summon them. Synchro summons. Synchro monsters are monster cards with life frames. You can't add these cards to your main deck. Like fusion monsters, you keep them in the extra deck. To summon a synchro monster, you need a tuner monster. Now, as far as how to summon a synchro monster, you need at least 1 tuner monster and 1 or more other monsters on the field as synchro material. The combined level of the monster used as synchro material must be equal to the level of the synchro monster you want to summon. Note that a monster must be face up to use it as a synchro material. In the main phase, you can send synchro material to the graveyard and special summon the synchro monster from your extra deck. This is called a synchro summon. Unlike fusion or ritual monsters, you can special summon without spell cards. However, you always need a tuner to synchro summon. Note that you cannot synchro summon without at least 1 tuner monster and non-tuner monster. Let's try synchro summoning. Select special summon. There we go. 1, 2. There we go. In attack position. You can also use synchro monsters as synchro materials. Try another synchro summon. Colossal. Colossal Fighter. If you meet the conditions for a synchro summon, you can play a powerful monster, so learn to use it effectively. When you make your deck, be careful to balance the tuner monsters and other kinds of monsters. Some synchro monsters require specific synchro materials, so read the text on the synchro monster card carefully. Some monsters like this one require specific tuner monsters. Well then, till next time, dismissed. Alright, let's get into the last little bits. These ones ain't too bad. XYZ summoning. Okay. Hello there, this is IN4M8. Let's learn about a new kind of monster. This time I'll explain XYZ monsters and how to summon them. XYZ. XYZ monsters are monster cards with black frames. You can't add these cards to your main deck. XYZ monsters are kept in your extra deck like synchro and fusion monsters. When summoning an XYZ monster, you need a number of face-up monsters on the field to be used as XYZ material. The number of needed XYZ materials will vary between XYZ monsters. The level of monsters chosen by the XYZ material must match the rank of the XYZ monster the player wants to summon. During the main phase, you can XYZ summon by stacking XYZ materials and placing the XYZ monster from your deck to the top of them. Let's try XYZ summoning and XYZ monsters. Select special summon from the extra deck. Okay. I gotta try to hurt this a little. The XYZ monster requires 2 level 3 XYZ materials. Oops. My bad. Nice. Number 20, Gigaberlian. XYZ monsters cannot be used as XYZ materials. XYZ monsters have powerful effects, so learn how to use and summon them effectively. XYZ monsters have special effects that are activated by detaching their XYZ monster. This XYZ monster, number 20 Gigaberlian, allows the player to boost all of their face-up monster attacks by 300. Let's try using the XYZ monster's effect. Ink. All your face-up monsters were boosted by 300. As you can see, the effects of the XYZ monster can be very useful in duels. Well then, until next time. Now, I'm gonna save this real quick and then be right with you. Alright everybody, welcome back. Let's get back into this one. Okay. Alright, hello there. This is IN4M8. This lesson will teach you about the Palladium monsters. These cards can be used as either monster cards or spell cards. They can be placed as a spell card in the new pendulum zones on the field. My bad. There are 2 pendulum zones on each side of the field. This is where you place a pendulum monster from your hand as a spell card during your main phase 1 or main phase 2. Let's try it first. Place a Palladium monster facing up on the empty zone. In the Palladium zone already occupied, you can still place a pendulum monster in the other pendulum zone. Since they act like spell cards, you can place more than one in a turn. Once both of your pendulum zones have pendulum monsters placed in them, you can perform a special pendulum summon. But first, let's take a pendulum monster card, as they have a lot of information on. Since they do so much, they have 2 effect text boxes on them. The one that becomes active depends on the card and how it's displayed. If you activate your pendulum monster as a spell in the pendulum zone, it says on the field that you can use it as a pendulum effect written in the top box. You can also summon and set a pendulum monster as a monster by placing it in the monster zone. When summoned as a monster, its monster effect, if any, will become active. Be sure you know how to place the pendulum monster once it has been summoned or set as a monster or placed on the pendulum zone. It can no longer be changed to the other types while it's on the field. In play is sent to the graveyard, place it face up, if a pendulum monster in play is sent to the graveyard, place it face up on top of your extra deck instead. This is true if the pendulum monster was placed as a spell or a monster card. Okay. Now we will show you how to use pendulum summon works. First, you will need a pendulum monster in each of the pendulum zones. You can pendulum summon once per turn in your main phase. Check the pendulum scales located on the sides of the pendulum monsters. Summon, you can summon as many monsters as you want. They can come to your hand, or from the top of your pendulum monsters in your extra deck. The level of the monster you summon has to be between the pendulum scales you have in the pendulum zones. The pendulum scales are 3 and 7. This means that you can pendulum summon any number of monsters between levels 4 and 6. Okay, time for you to try them out. Wait, select. Oh, select a card. Pendulum summon. Haha. Oops. Okay. Huh. Okay. You can only pendulum summon once per turn, but can summon as many monsters as you want at a time. Let's review. Pendulum monsters are monster cards while they are in the hand, deck, monster zone, graveyard, and extra deck. When a pendulum monster is played in the pendulum zone, it becomes a spell and activates its pendulum effect. Pendulum monsters sent to the graveyard are placed face up in the extra deck. They can be pendulum summoned like monsters in your hand. Pendulum monsters do not go to the extra deck when sent from the hand or deck or when using pendulum monsters as XYZ material. Pendulum summons make it easier to XYZ, synchro, and fusion summon, especially if you pendulum summon more pendulum monsters. Use a pendulum monster as a synchro material, sends it to the extra deck so you can pendulum summon it again. Pendulum monsters used as fusion materials for fusion summons will also get sent to the extra deck. You can also just attack with all your pendulum summon monsters for maximum damage. Well then, till next time. Alright, one more last one. Hope you guys have enjoyed this so far. I know I have. So let's get into this. Hello again, this is IN4M8. This time I'll explain link monsters and link summoning. Link monsters are kept in your extra deck and can't be added to the main deck. Link monsters have dark blue frames with red arrows. Link monsters do not have a defense, but they have a link rating on the bottom right of the card. The link rating represents the number of link materials that you must send to the graveyard from the field in order to summon it. It is also equal to the number of red of link arrows. In general, each monster can be used as one link material. However, when a link monster is used as link material for other link monsters, it can be sent to the graveyard as one link material or a number of link materials equal to its linking rate. It is good to note that only certain kinds of monsters can be used as material to link summon a link monster. This link monster requires 2 water attribute monsters. Let's try. Hi, in your extra deck, special summon Mr. Starboy. Select the monsters that you would like. I want. Oops. Where is? Yeah, this one and oh no, we have to do this one and this one. Here we go. Wedding. Select extra zone. And there we go. If there are no link monsters on the field, link monsters are face-up pendulum monsters summoned from the extra deck could only be summoned to one of the center extra monster zones. With a link monster in play, you can now summon any extra deck monsters to any main monster zone that the link monster link arrow's pointing to. Let's try it. Wusa Radiant. Select the card to send it to the graveyard. And voila. Let's do the Radiant. Alright, select the position. I'm gonna go here though. Link monsters can be used as a number of linked materials equal to their link rating. The 2 link monsters in play can be used as 2 link materials each. In your extra deck, select special summon. Here we go. Select a card and send it to the graveyard. There we go. Dink dink. Link link. And summon. Be sure to think ahead when placing your monsters. Well then, until next time. Alright you guys, that's the end of that. I hope you guys liked this tutorial and beginner's guide. We shall be getting into the campaign as of tomorrow. So with that being said, you guys, if you like this video, hit that like, hit that subscribe, and as always you guys, you stay safe, and I'll see you all in the next video.